Hello everyone, and welcome back. Sorry it's been a while since I posted, but I don't really have a schedule that I keep to. I just record any video I can whenever I have a chance. This podfic is on Locked in a Closet, Why Are You Prepared? By Chaton 7. It is a 2-chapter story, but I will be reading everything here in this one video. And here's the summary. Shinsou Hitoshi transfers to Aldera Middle School in a last attempt to make friends. Instead, he finds that Aldera might just be the worst school he's ever attended. Though he can't say he didn't get a friend, or brother, out of it. Just some trigger warnings before we get started. There is bullying and child neglect in this story. Okay, on to the first chapter. Did Hitoshi ever mention how much he hates people? Because he hates people. Like, really, really hates people. He hates the way that they stare at him in disgust and hatred. He hates how they push him around. He hates how they call him a villain. He hates how he hates them first, to hate them before they hate him. Backkkk takes the cake as the person he hates the most. Transferring to Aldera was supposed to help with the bullying. Help, as in not make it worse. But Bakugo was a piece of work, and Hitoshi was never going to be on the top of the food chain. With his back against the wall of the supply closet, Hitoshi glances at his phone. It's dead, but he can tell he's only been there for 5 minutes. Why is the doorknob rattling already? He highly doubts a teacher would let him out, and considering how they told him that this supply closet isn't in use, he doubts it's a janitor either. As the door opens, he finds himself momentarily blinded by the light. Just long enough for someone to be shoved in and the door to be shut again, locked from the outside. Hitoshi can't really see the kid they shoved in. The lights in here don't work, but he turns on the flashlight he keeps in his bag, just in time to see the kid's face as they maneuver themselves into a seated position. The kid's small, with green hair and freckles, and is shaking just the tiniest bit. The kid's wide eyes land on him. Hi. Hey. They're quiet, because Hitoshi is awkward, and this kid seems scared. Figures he'd be scared, the villain. You know when they'll come back and let us out? The kid blinks at him. Monday, probably. It's Friday. The kid just shrugs. I have snacks if you want to share. I can't fit too many in my bag because Kachan finds them and dumps them out on the ground. But I have some shoved in various pockets. I also hid some in here. It was hard getting them on the higher shelves. But I think they should still be there. Have they done this to him before? Kachan? Bakugo. We were friends when we were little. Hitoshi scoffs. Doesn't seem much like a friend. The kid pulls out a small light from his bag with an electric cord as he plugs into the wall. That'll stay on for the rest of the weekend. I also have a phone charger and some books. How often do they lock you in here? Often enough. They've never locked anyone else in here, though. Hitoshi stares at the kid. He's not panicked. He acts like this is normal, and isn't fazed by him being in here. Who is this kid? I'm Hitoshi Shinsou. Since when am I the social one? The kid's eyes widen was surprised that Hitoshi was talking to him. Oh, Midori Izuku. Hitoshi nods. So, Kachan? Yeah, he doesn't like those he sees as weak. So that's anyone that isn't him? Midoriya giggles. Cute. Yeah, basically. Uh, so why do you call him Kachan? It doesn't exactly seem like he's very nice to you. Habits. Our moms are best friends, so I have to call him that when we see each other at dinner once a month, and it annoys him. I don't exactly have another way to get back at him, not without getting myself in trouble. Hitoshi raises an eyebrow. Your moms are best friends? Your mom is best friends with the mother of your bully? Midoriya looks sheepish. She never really noticed. Hitoshi blinks. Full offense to her, but that's pathetic. It's okay, I'm used to it. Doesn't make it okay. Midoriya shrugs. Hitoshi studies him. He's curious. Why'd they bully him? He assumes it's quirk related, and he's curious, but he doesn't want his own quirk to be brought up. The kid doesn't seem to know what it is, and he doesn't want to be stuck in a closet with someone who's scared of him for the whole weekend. As if sensing the conversations, Midoriya pulls out a notebook, putting on some headphones and staring at his phone screen as he jots down some notes. Do your parents ever notice that you're not home over the weekend? Midoriya looks up. Oh, Mom's usually busy at the hospital. You said you had a phone charger, right? Can I borrow it? Sure. Midoriya hands him the charger, and while he's a bit surprised that it goes with the phone type, he'll focus on being thankful later. If he can just get his phone on, he can call his dad. Hitoshi knows his dad will hate that Aldera turned out to be worse than the last school. Knows that after this, he'll have to go to online school. He doesn't mind much. The only reason he agreed to try Aldera first was so that he could try and find a friend. Social interactions are important, his pops had said. He looks over at Midoriya, who's still using his phone to watch a video. Why not call your mom? She won't answer. Hitoshi stills. Fuck, he hates that answer. Hates that he knows that this kid is either in the system or has a bad quirk. Just from that sentence alone. Hitoshi knew he was lucky when his dad adopted him a couple months ago. He looks at the kid across from him, who's leaning against the door like he's accepted this. He doesn't wonder if his dad will adopt one more. Midoriya pauses for a moment before looking up at him. Do you want to borrow my phone to call your parents? He looks slightly uncomfortable. Sorry, I forgot your parents might answer. And damn it, if Hitoshi doesn't hate and know that was him only a couple months ago, before his dads found him and decided he was theirs. Hitoshi shook his head. It's good. Dad has a special ringtone set for me. It'll be easier to call him from my phone once it's charged. Okay. It only takes Hitoshi a moment to decide that Midoriya is strange and too used to being hurt and needs help. And maybe this one needs a friend just as much as Hitoshi does. And maybe Hitoshi can make a friend. He doesn't think about his dad's infinity for collecting strays. What you doing? Is that really the best he could do? Damn, he hates social interactions. Midoriya freezes, his expression a bit guarded. Why is his expression so guarded? Why is he holding his notebook like Hitoshi will attack it? And damn it, if Hitoshi doesn't already know the answer and hates it. Oh, I analyze quirks, and so I tend to look up hero fights so I can analyze their quirks. Analyze. That was not what Hitoshi was expecting. Dad's mentioned a quirk analysis before, told him that it's useful for hero work, told him that's not enough for people to realize how useful it is. And here's a kid that does it for fun. That's a really useful skill for heroics, if that's what you're going for. Midoriya stares at him. You think I could be a hero? Hitoshi shrugs. Yeah, anyone can be a hero if they work hard enough. And quirk analysis is really good for hero work. Midoriya is still staring at him, a strange look in his eyes. You don't know who I am, do you? How could I know you? We aren't even in the same class. Midoriya still stares at him. They tend to make sure everyone knows who I am. And damn it, if that doesn't make Hitoshi mad, that this kid probably isn't talking to him because he's antisocial, but because he's just grateful that Hitoshi isn't hurting him and doesn't want that to change. Don't think that applied to me. Midoriya tilts his head, looking slightly nervous. Are you quirkless? Hitoshi freezes, and fuck, if that doesn't explain a lot. The kid is quirkless. No, my quirk is brainwashing. Midoriya's mouth falls open. That's so cool. Oh, what? Is it response-based? I'm betting it's response-based. Your voice is really smooth, which is normally a side effect from having a voice-activated quirk. If there's a limit for how long you can hold someone, what counts as a response? How many people can you hold? What are the limits that you can make someone do? Hitoshi turns to gape. How? What? Midoriya shrinks a bit. Sorry, I tend to ramble. I know it's annoying. No, it's not bad or anything. Just surprised. Yeah, it's response-based. I'm not quite sure what the limits are. He pauses. You're not scared of me? Midoriya relaxes. Why would I be? I could take control of you. Midoriya shrugs. He shrugs. I doubt you would make me do anything bad. Hitoshi smiles. Thanks. Midoriya beams and... Damn, that is bright. They go quiet. Midoriya goes back to his notebook, and Hitoshi checks on his phone, which still won't turn on. They sit there for a bit, before Midoriya yawns. And that's when Hitoshi notices the dark circles under his eyes. You can take a nap if you want. Midoriya just waves him off, and Hitoshi rolls his eyes. He gently takes Midoriya's phone and notebook, setting them to the side, before gently grabbing Midoriya. With carefully telegraphed movements, he pulls him over to sit next to him. Hitoshi gently pushes Midoriya to lay down, his head on Hitoshi's lap. Just go to sleep. I'll wake you up when my dad gets here. No. Sleep. Hitoshi cards his hand through Midoriya's curls, a bit surprised on how bold he's being with this new person. It's not because he knows what it feels like to be exhausted, to be unsafe, and not because he wants Midoriya to feel safe around him, because he has a feeling that he isn't safe anywhere else. It only takes Midoriya a few moments to fall asleep with Hitoshi's hand still in his hair. Hitoshi hates how small Midoriya looks. He hates that it's only now that he notices the charred shoulder of his uniform and realizes that Bakugo likely burned Midoriya. He hates that Midoriya isn't reacting to it. Hates that says how often he's burned. It takes about what Hitoshi assumes is 20 more minutes for his phone to turn on. He calls his dad, keeping his phone on the charger and his voice low. Hitoshi, are you okay? Hitoshi smiles softly at the worried undertone in his dad's voice. It's nice to have someone that cares about him. Hey, Dad, I need you to come get me. A couple of kids locked me and another kid in a supply closet on the second floor. His dad inhales sharply. I'll be there in 15. Where on the second floor? He hears noise in the background, and as his dad most likely runs out of UA, he doesn't doubt his dad will take the rooftops. Hallway F. Okay, keep talking to me, Hitoshi. Hitoshi glances down at Midoriya. Can't. Midoriya looks exhausted, and I just got him to sleep a bit ago. Go ahead and call Pops to meet us in the front of the school. You sure? Yeah. And Dad? Yes, Hitoshi? Can we get the guest room ready, please? Parents? I had to charge my phone because it was dead. Midoriya didn't even bother to call his mom or think he could offer his phone, so I could call you until after I asked why he didn't call his mom. He forgot you might answer. His dad swears. We'll get the guest room ready. I'll call Hisashi and then we'll be there in 10. Thank you, Dad. Love you. Love you too. Hitoshi hangs up, listening to the quiet humming of the electric light that was plugged in to the side. Midoriya is still sleeping peacefully, and Hitoshi keeps carding his fingers through his curls. He already knows their guest room won't stay a guest room for long. 9 minutes later, and his dad opens the door, lock picks in hand. Hitoshi, you're going to online school. Hitoshi cracks a smile. That's the kid? Yeah, his name's Midoriya. Hitoshi knows he promised Midoriya he'd wake him up. He also knows that Midoriya has to be exhausted. He wonders how badly he'd react to waking up in an unfamiliar place. Hitoshi runs his fingers through Midoriya's curls a little firmer. Midoriya, my dad's here. Hitoshi doesn't look at his dad, doesn't want to see his dad's soft look, and how worried he is. Shinsou? Midoriya sits up and rubs his eyes. Hey, ready to go? Midoriya yawns and looks at him. Thanks for calling your parents. No problem. Hitoshi stands and pulls Midoriya up, grabbing his notebook, phone, and electronic light, and placing them in his bag. Let's go. Midoriya looks up at his dad and blinks, then looks at Hitoshi. Your dad's Eraserhead? Hitoshi snorts, because of course Midoriya recognizes him. A glance at his dad's face tells him that he's equally parts shocked, exasperated, and concerned about his security. Hitoshi pulls him past his dad and to go down the hallway. Yep, now let's go. We'll get the guest room ready once we're home. What? Midoriya is looking at him with wide eyes. No, it's okay. I can just go home. Hitoshi narrows his eyes. You didn't bother to call your mom because she wouldn't pick up. And I can walk home. Your shoulder is burnt. Midoriya flinches. Hitoshi sees his pop pull up in the front of the school and stops, making Midoriya face him. You're hurt? You've been hurt. Just let us help you. Midoriya looks at him with wide eyes. I'm quirkless. We don't care. No one should care. Just let us help. Okay. Hitoshi pushes Midoriya into the back seat ahead of him, unsurprised when his first words are, Your other dad is President Mike? Okay, moving on to the second chapter. This is in the POV of Shota Aizawa. Let's get into it. Shota was furious for the child that is currently sleeping in the guest room. It had taken them 20 minutes to convince Midoriya to let them check him over. Shota ended up calling in Chio after realizing that the kid had more injuries than just a burned shoulder. Chio had come out of the bedroom. Midoriya passed out after she used her quirk and told them that they needed to check on his home life. There were way too many scars for his mother to miss all of them and all of his injuries. Then she gave them a rundown of his current injuries: bruised ribs, second-degree burns, and various cuts that looked there from a very thin knife, none of which Midoriya seemed to even notice. Some injuries were days old, and were taken care of by someone with experienced first aid. That someone turned out to be Midoriya. No middle schooler should know what to do in those situations. Kami, Shota was going to rain hell down on Aldera Middle School and Midoriya's mother. Okay, so, I didn't make any friends, but I did find myself a brother, Hitoshi said with a shit-eating grin. He flopped down on the couch next to Shota. Now, what were the adoption plans? Hitoshi, we can't just adopt him. Bullshit. You adopted me just fine. You were in a bad foster home. Midoriya has a bad mother who we have to investigate before we can do anything. Plus, he might have another family or friends that he wants to live with. So, he stays with us while you investigate and then you adopt him? Shota runs a hand down his face. Hitoshi. Hisashi walked out of the guest bedroom, having gone in there to check on Midoriya. He sat down in the armchair. So, adoption game plan, go? Hitoshi grins as Shota groans. See? Pops gets it. And both of you are forgetting that Midoriya might have another family. Or that he might not want to live with us. Hisashi and Hitoshi exchange a look. Or, and hear me out, Sho, you know you'd get attached to the moment the little listener recognized the both of us. And are trying to make it seem like you don't want it. In case it doesn't work out and he can't stay with us. Which is stupid because we both know that the quirkless statistics and that we know about his mother, the odds are very much in our favor. So, what's the plan? Shota closes his eyes as he thought about the child in the other room. Midoriya was, admittedly, a sweet kid with a knack for analysis, if what he heard from Hitoshi and what he managed to coax out of Midoriya in the car was anything to go by. Somehow, he doesn't think that Midoriya said it in the car was anything close to the full range of his abilities. Tsukashi first. He can get a case together and get Midoriya's statement. He'll bring the emergency foster papers too. Depending on the outcome of the case, we can foster then adopt Midoriya, if that's what he wants. Hitoshi stands up. Sounds good. I'm gonna go to sleep. Grandma Chio's quirk off. Wake me up when Midoriya gets up. I never got the answer to his question earlier. Hisashi and Shota share a glance. What question? Once he heard about my quirk, he had a bunch of questions about it. We got distracted before I could answer him, though. He wants to answer questions about his quirk? Hisashi squealed quietly as Hitoshi disappeared into his bedroom and turned to Shota. That child is ours now. I've never heard Hitoshi talk so casually when it comes to questions about his quirk. My reminders about not getting our hopes up are just going to be ignored, aren't they? Hisashi smiles at him. Call Tsukashi. 3 hours later, Shota's urge to burn down a school and to kill a mother was stronger than ever. What Izuku was forced to go through was sick. Even the scars themselves were rage-inducing. No child should ever have more scars than the most seasoned pro heroes. No child should be expected to only see their mother once every couple of months. No child should be made to feel useless because of something they can't control. He was going to end up adopting this kid, wasn't he? Izuku's father had left after he was diagnosed quirkless. God, who decided that being quirkless was a fucking disease that needed to be diagnosed? And he had no other relatives, no friends either. Shota won't think about the look on Izuku's face when Tsukashi asked about the friends he won't be comfortable staying with. Nor would he think about Izuku's quiet plea that if the Bakugos asked about him, or about talking to him, to tell them no. Hitoshi pulled Izuku away from the table as soon as Tsukashi was done asking questions. Something about finding decorations for his room. Izuku looked like he wanted to protest, but Hitoshi could be pushy when he wanted to. The damn brat. I'm going to get a warrant for Aldera's security footage and send someone to pick up Miss Midoriya. I highly doubt the kid's gonna go back to her, Tsukashi said. Let us know if you want any help, Hisashi said, with a wicked grin. We'd be more than happy to help with any arrests. Shota sighed in mock exasperation. Unfortunately, we're too busy to help out with any school arson investigations for the next year. Tsukashi shook his head. I'm half tempted to send this all to Nezu. You don't even work for him. And yet I've still heard the enjoyment he takes from bringing down corrupt school systems. Shota shook his head as he walked Tsukashi out. Who knows, you might end up with a suspiciously timed raise. Tsukashi laughs. That day, Shinsou became Hitoshi. Eraserhead became Aizawa. President Mike became Yamada, and Midoriya became Izuku. After a week, Hitoshi turned into Toshi, and Izuku turned into Zu. After a month, Aizawa became Shota, and Yamada became Hisashi. After 2 months, Izuku accidentally called Shota's dad for the first time. The incident ended in tears and cuddles, and promises that no, Shota didn't mind Izuku calling him dad. He was honored that Izuku thought of him as a dad. And yes, Hisashi would absolutely love it if Izuku called him Pops. But it can wait until you're ready for that. Don't rush yourself. And if Izuku called Hisashi Pops the same day, well, a few more tears weren't the end of the world, were they? 4 months after that, Shota and Hisashi were finally approved to adopt Izuku. The process was made easier when they had already adopted Hitoshi and were pro-heroes. No one mentioned that Izuku being quirkless might have been a factor in the ease of the adoption process. When asked what Izuku wanted his last name to be, everyone was well aware they didn't want to keep Midoriya. No one was quite sure if he would take Aizawa or Yamada, but everyone was surprised when he turned to Hitoshi and asked if he could take the last name Shinsou, since they were brothers, and Hitoshi hadn't taken more than one parent's last name. Hitoshi didn't cry. He didn't. He also didn't think about how much his bio parents would have loved Izuku if they were still alive, and how quickly he said yes. Okay. Wow. Bit longer than expected, but that was good. That was Locked in a Closet, Why Are You Prepared? By Chaton 7. I was reading this fic for the first time as I was recording this, so all those stumbles were just for me figuring out what was written there. I don't think there was any background noise in this one, luckily. I'll try and post more now that it's the break for me. Yeah, have a good day, everyone. This is the Viridian Ghost signing out. Goodbye.